Aloha, and doesn't it feel great to be alive in wherever you are in the world? Tonight, I'm Luke Michael Howard, clinical hypnotist and owner of Hypnosis, here with the Hypnosis Show, or what I like to call Luke Talks. So tonight's discourse is going to all be, as you hear Mr. B singing for his supper, is going to be about how do you know you are ready to change, whether change be stopping an addiction like cocaine, like cigarettes, like drinking, like porn, like the internet, whether it's getting rid of something like anxiety, depression, guilt, shame, some kind of chronic pain, or some kind of increase in your sports performance. And as always, before we start this discourse live, and it's Wednesday, you know what that means. We're going to give everyone an opportunity to come and find us. Right now, we are broadcast live on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, on Twitch, on TikTok, to name but a few. If I'm looking at you right now, I'm speaking to everybody other than people on TikTok right now. You can see for the connection with this camera. But if you see me looking down here, I'm speaking to you, the TikTok people, including the Hypno Pixie now. So if you see me talking a bit like this and a bit like this, it's just because I'm speaking to different cameras right now, but I am connected, I am engaged with each and every one of you people. And like I said, it is Wednesday, and you do know what that means. Let me talk to you. If you can hear me, if you are out there, then please say hello. Say hi, give me a thumbs up, give me a wave, give me something in the comments box so I know that people are out there and consuming this. Because as I always say, I'm a hypnotist, not a mind reader. So you know you're out there. If you comment, and these things tend to work better if you are engaged and we have a communication. Otherwise, it's going to be me banging on for the next 30 minutes. Although I do like the sound of my own voice, it's always nice to hear what you want, see what you want. The only way I can see that is if you put it in a comment below. So, our live restricted for some audiences. Your live contains themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Reason, regulated goods context. I have no idea what that means, but that is on TikTok. That is strange, isn't it? Sean's joined us. Hello, Sean. The Square has joined us. Hello, The Square. 2 restrictions. Oh, I wonder who's restricting me. Always interesting when those things come up. I think there's certain words that set off restrictions in TikTok. I'm not sure what that happens. Anyways, back to the show. What socials are you watching me on? If you're watching on Facebook, put Facebook in the comments. TikTok, put TikTok. X, put X. Twitch, put Twitch. LinkedIn, put LinkedIn. And TikTok, put TikTok, so I know that you're out there, so I can see what is the best form of social media to be communicating on. So we do these lives every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you're watching us live, hello. Thanks for making it. If you're watching us after the fact, hello. Thanks for watching us after the fact. If you ask questions live, I will do my bestest to answer them live. If you are watching it after the fact, feel free to put comments, requests, suggestions, questions in the comments, and I'll get back to you in due course as well. What country are you watching from? If you don't already know, I am in Canada. Where are you watching from? We have a lot of people generally from America, Canada, England, some from other places as well. So put it in your comments below. Mert has joined us. Let's have a look at anyone's got any comments so far. Any questions before we get into the discourse in a few moments about how to know if you're ready to change. Change what? Well, change anything in your life. Change your job, change your partner, change your house, change your emotional state, change your addiction, change your circumstances in life. How do you know you're ready to change? We're going to address that all upcoming. But as I like to start these things right now is the news. So let me share with you what's been going on for me. And I know sometimes it can be a little bit self-congratulatory when people talk about the news and what's going on in their own life. But I only share this with you because I think this can help you. And also, full disclosure, by sharing something so you can share it with me as well. Okay. You might hear the police outside or an ambulance. So, what's the news this week? Well, in about 4 weeks from tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a live show. First live show in quite a long time. About 20-minute hypnosis, mentalism type endurance show coming up downtown in Toronto. As we get closer to that date and time, I will give you more details. But excited about that live performance. Yes, it will be hypnosis and some other weird and wonderful things. So very excited about that. Ideally, we should be filming that as well and posting that up once it's gone live. But I'll give you the details of that as we get closer and closer. But if you're around Toronto, downtown Toronto, in about 4 weeks from tomorrow, good opportunity to have a lovely Thursday night out and to be entertained by something a little bit different. So that's coming up. I did a great interview today, recorded it today, and I'll be dropping it within the next week. I'm not exactly sure when, but it's with one of my clients who's become a good friend of mine, Daryl. He won't mind me sharing you with this because he just made a 30-minute video with me. But Daryl has been seeing me for over a year now. He had a form of cancer, brain cancer, and he's doing amazing. He's doing miraculously, and he wanted to share his story, his transformation, what he had to go through in order to get to the other end. And he's been cancer-free now for 18 months, and he's going strong. He's doing amazing, and all this will continue. But you're going to see his story. Because a lot of people are like, well, they kind of understand how this hypnosis business can help with stuff like emotional thing, like anxiety or fear, maybe even an addiction like smoking or, cocaine. But maybe even with a physiological chronic pain like a back pain or a shoulder pain, it's chronic. I mean, it's been going on for 3 months. But how does it help with a degenerative disease or disorder like cancer? Well, you're going to see that in a 30-minute video that I conducted with Daryl today, an interview, a case study, sharing his insights of this journey he's been on, coming out the other end, doing amazing. And I'll be dropping that over the next 7 days. So you'll get to watch that. Watch it, be inspired by the story. Even if I was not involved in the story, I'd been inspired by the story, by Daryl's amazing work over the last year and a bit. So keep an eye out on whatever form of social you're watching this on, and that 30-minute interview will be up within the next week. Another piece of news that will benefit you all is I recently got certified as a specialist in helping people overcome cocaine addiction. Some of you might be like, you've been doing that for a long time. I've been doing that for a long time. But I recently got certified by a very good hypnotist over in Ireland who did a certification course utilizing hypnosis for helping people overcome cocaine addiction. His methodology around it. So I'll be posting on some of the details of that over the next few days. But it's some more great tools by working with another mind in techniques and systems that he's put together, helping people overcome that nasty habit of cocaine. So I'll be sharing that with you. It's very, very powerful stuff. So proud to have done that course, got that certification, got some new tools to help people out there in need. And I always say to people that are doing cocaine, that do want to stop, it's never a question of money because they're spending a heck of a lot of money on cocaine. And without sharing names, there's a client that I had, and he had told me that his stepmother had spent something in excess of $300,000 sending him to rehab in Hollywood in LA to overcome cocaine addiction, usually at 4 weeks pop. And as soon as he came out, within an hour of coming out of the rehab that cost 100 grand, he was out there getting his next score, getting his next hit of cocaine, and then regularly, he told me that he'd spent a couple of $1 million in his life. And one thing I know with working with people with addictions is they always underestimate the amount of money, time, and energy that they have spent doing their addiction. And he told me he probably figures he spent about $2 million on cocaine in his life. And like I said, I'm sure he's probably underselling it as well. All that to say, so I said to him, so if you've spent like a couple of $1 million in your life of your money and other people's money on doing cocaine, if I just charged you $1,999,000 to get you off cocaine forever, I'd be worth it, wouldn't I? I could see he was having this internal struggle inside, and he kind of begrudgingly came back after that. He's like, yeah, but Luke, figure is I don't have an extra $2 million in my account because I've snorted it all up my nose. To which I said, it's okay. I don't charge close to $2 million to help people come off cocaine if they're ready to come off of cocaine, although it would be bloody worth it if I did. But all that to say, when people have a drug of choice, whether that be cocaine, cigarette, alcohol, heroin, gambling is a big thing as well. The amount of money they've spent, they've never done the math in their head, because it's quite scary to do the math in your head. And not only the emotional disconnect with other people and yourself that you have from doing your addiction, but the amount it's cost you financially. People don't like to do that because it puts them in pain and guilt and shame. But part of the work that I do is we need to visit you. We need to get you to visit those areas, not so you stay there, not so we do an archaeological expedition to find out where all the metaphorical dead bodies are in your life. But no, we need to go there briefly to light up that neurology in your mind and body to get you fully activated, motivated, and more importantly, inspired to get rid of that particular problem. So when I do it with clients, like, bloody hell, Luke, yeah, you know what? You're worth every penny because of the amount of money that I've spent, not to mention emotions, time, broken relationship, lost jobs, lost opportunities with my kids, my family, yada, yada, yada. But yes, so anyways, all that to say, some new tools. I recently certified as a specialist in helping people overcome cocaine specifically. What else news do I have for you today? Oh, some non-related hypnosis news, but in Toronto, if you're in Toronto, put your comments below. It is Elimination Chamber Week for WWE this week, taking over Toronto. If you are a wrestling fan and you know of any meet and greets of WWE superstars this upcoming weekend in and around the Toronto area, then please do message me underneath this video and let me know where they are going to be. Specifically, I'm looking to meet John Cena and The Rock, because they are in Toronto this week. So if you have any ins to meet them, if you know where they're going to be, if you know any other meet or greets, put it in the comments, private message me, let me know. Let me know if you're going to Elimination Chamber or SmackDown or Raw. It's going to be this weekend at the Rogers Centre, I think formerly known as the Sky Dome. That's what it's called. I was having that discussion with the Hypnopixie the other day. Big shout out to the Hypnopixie as well. Any other news I got to share with you this week from clients or personal work? Okay, yeah, I'll share this with you. I busted up my thumb about 3 or 4 weeks ago. You don't want to know why. I busted up my thumb a few weeks ago. But I busted up my thumb, and one of the things I do daily is jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, involves me grappling with people and getting submission and trying not to get submitted and all that business. But there's a lot of grabbing and pulling and choking. So hands, very handsy. And after I injured my thumb, I don't particularly know what the injury is, but after a few weeks, my thumb was a lot better. But this week, I noticed my thumb starting to flare up a little bit, and it was quite uncomfortable. Again, a lot of grip, grabbing geese, grabbing arm bars, leg locks, and chokes. And then rather than thinking, oh my God, my thumb is still messed up. Oh, this is just going to make it work. I should quit. Oh, it's never healing. Oh my God, it's never going to heal. I didn't do that. Didn't play that game. I just said, oh, better look, take better look after, take better care of my thumb. Maybe tape it up. Maybe do some more mobility. Maybe start the rolling, which is the sparring part of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you're not aware of it. Start on the ground, then standing up, which will limit, potentially pushing, pulling movements while standing up, and possibly re-agitating even more my thumb. I'd share that story, not to put myself over, but I'd share that story is sometimes I'll get a client and they're obsessed by a particular thought. Perhaps it's their problem. Oh, I'm craving, Luke, I overdrink and I'm just obsessive with drinking. Luke, I overuse cocaine, and when I'm not using cocaine, I'm obsessing about my next fix. Luke, I've got chronic back pain. I'm not feeling back pain right now, but I'm having this chronic memory, this chronic obsessive compulsive disorder thought in my head that says, what happens the next time I feel that chronic pain in my back? Right? And then they figure it hasn't worked because the thoughts come back. They're not in pain in that moment. They're not doing their drug of choice in that moment, but the thought labeled pain, the thought labeled cocaine, the thought labeled cigarettes, the thought labeled alcohol, thought labeled whatever their problem is, has just come up. And sometimes people take that as a signal that this work hasn't worked. Oh my God, this work hasn't worked because I had the thought of the problem I used to have. The work hasn't worked. Even though I'm not doing the drug, even though I'm not feeling the pain, there's still the thought that lingers. I had a client the other day say that to me, which I said to them, isn't that amazing? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you told me that this thought of cigarettes was always there in the background of your mind. You're thinking about it all the time. And you came to see me 2 weeks ago and you were smoking 2 packs a day, 40 to 50 cigarettes a day. And that thought was always there. When you weren't smoking, it was even louder than when you weren't smoking. It's like, when's your next fix? When's the next cigarette? Right? So we worked together. Not only if you stopped smoking, right, saved a couple $100 in the last couple of weeks, right? Your boyfriend, girlfriend wants to kiss you more because you don't taste like an ashtray. But that thought labeled, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette, labeled craving, labeled nicotine, that thought, instead of being present the whole time, now only shows up at 6 p.m. when you finished work as a demarcation point between work and home, and it only shows up for less than 5 minutes and it goes away. Isn't that amazing? And my client went like this. We call it a transderivational search in psychology or neurolinguistic programming, NLP. I didn't think about it that way. I'm like, well, you should start thinking about it that way now and feel amazing as you do it. All that to say, the thought labeled craving, the thought labeled chronic pain, the thought labeled my ex, the thought labeled obsessive compulsive disorder, whatever you want to call it, the thought labeled PTSD. The thought and the thing are two different things. Right now, I'm thinking of Pamela Anderson. But the thought labeled Pamela Anderson in my head and Pamela Anderson in real life are two different things, right? Don't be scared of your thoughts. I often do this experiment with my clients. I ask them to think of the most terrible thing that can happen. I'm like, you're safe, don't worry, but just do it. Only for a tiny amount of time, a minute or so, a moment. And they do it and they get really build it up like a method actor, right? So they're really feeling it, seeing it. They're in a safe situation, but to bring up those emotions inside, like whatever that most terrible thing is, and they get them to shake it off. And I'm like, it didn't happen. I just imagine that, imagine that like this, someone had got hold of my kid and killed him. Okay. I'm like, so you had that horrible thought, right? Yeah, I can't believe it's a horrible thought. Like, oh, I don't want to have that thought again. Like you had the thought, yeah. And where's your son? Oh, he's just outside the waiting room. He's healthy. The thought of something happening and the actual event are two completely different things. I could sit down here all day having the thought of wishing that the lottery ball, is it a lottery ball anymore, would fall down on my lap with the millions and millions of dollars hitting me, but not do anything about it. Nothing bloody changes. All right. The thought is just that. It's a thought. It comes, it goes. Sometimes we get tied to our thoughts. We give more agency, more importance than they're just their worth. But a thought, for the most part, is quite worthless. It's like a bubble in your Diet Coke or in your champagne. It bubbles up to the top, that bubble disappears, and another bubble comes up, that bubble dissipates, and another bubble. It's the same with thought. One thought comes up, and then suddenly you lose interest. Another thought comes up, you lose interest. Another thought comes up. You know, thoughts are not necessary. They're not reality. Your thought will never ever be the reality, because if you're thinking it, it means you're not living it, experience it in the moment, right? An example I often give is if you're fearful of being in a street fight, right? You have great anxiety around it, being beaten up, being hurt, right? When you're in, if you're unfortunate to be in the situation of a street fight, you're not fearful anymore. You're not worrying anymore. You're not scared anymore, because all of your capacities are keeping you in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, into action, into doing something, into staying safe, whatever safe is for you, whether that be fight, whether that be freeze, whether that be fawn, don't hurt me, take my wallet, or whether that be flight, getting the hell out of there, running, right? The very fact that you're having a thought means you're not in danger, because when you're in the danger, when you're in the fight, you're not thinking about that because you are in survival mode. So the very fact you're having a thought of OCD, using the cocaine, having, I really need to use that cocaine right now, the X, the pain, the very thought that the very notion that you're having the thought means the thing isn't actually happening, because if the thing was actually happening, you'd be encapsulated in that experience, labeled the thing that's happening. So the thought just tells you one thing and one piece of valuable information. That's this: the thing that you fear isn't actually happening right now. It could happen. It could equally not happen. But in the moment, it ain't happening, because if it was life or death, you ain't going to be able to think about it in the moment, because you're surviving it in the moment. So don't be scared of your thoughts. You can't control them anyways. You can't control your thoughts. Neither can I. However, when they come up, we can control how much time we spend on them, how we investigate them, how we let go of them. We can't actually control the thought. So today's talk, what do you want to talk about? Today's talk is, how do you know that you are ready to change? Yes, and I do see that. To change, the N and the A should be the opposite way around on the tag, but it's too late to fix that now. So how do you know you're ready to change? Change what? Change your emotional state, change your job, change your partner, change your home, change your car, change your mindset, change your experience, change your workout plan, your nutrition plan. How do you know you are ready to change? How do you know? How do you know you're ready to change? Before I go into my discourse, put how you know that you're ready to change in the comments below. Right now, if it was $1 million question and you answered it correctly for you, just by telling the truth, and you're going to win $1 million, and all you have to do is you honestly have to answer the question, how do you know that you're ready to change? What's your answer? I'll give you a few moments. Imagine the Jeopardy clock is singing and you can hear it tick down. Give you a moment to comment how you know you're ready to change before I answer from a psychological standpoint. There you go. Well, how you know you're ready to change? How I know that I'm ready to change, or I know if my clients is ready to change, if I take them on as a client, is a thing that we call threshold in neurolinguistic programming. And threshold basically means you get to a point in your life where something needs to change. It has to change now, not tomorrow, not next week. It needs to change. It needs to change right now. And I need to change it. Something needs to change. It needs to change now, and I need to be the one that changes. That's what we call threshold, right? In knowing that you're ready. And oftentimes, it doesn't take a long time to make that decision, right? If it's taking you time to make the decision, you're not at threshold. Because I don't know if you had this experience, but one of these, I'm sure you've had experience. You're in a relationship, and one day it's like, I'm done, I'm finished, it's through, it's over, I'm done. Or you're in a relationship with someone, and you just get to that moment where you're just like, love you. Something changed in the moment. The decision just happened right there. There may have been a build-up over some time, but it just happened. All right. It's just that moment. If you're thinking, do I or don't I, then you probably don't. If you're thinking, do I or don't I love the person or whatever, you probably don't love them if you need to think about it. If you really need to think about, do I really want to change? But I kind of like smoking, but I don't like smoking. Kind of like drinking, but I don't like drinking. Kind of like using coke, but don't like. If you're in that wishy-washy place, you're not ready to change. And you won't change. You won't change until there's enough immediate pain in your life that's happening over and over and over again, linked to this particular behavior, belief, or emotion. Enough consistent, massive amount of pain that's in your face daily, in your mind, daily, in your body, moment to moment. That's when people change, right? It's what we call threshold. You're kind of like sitting on the fence. I'll contact that doctor. I'll contact that therapist. I'll start that new project tomorrow, next week. You're not ready. You don't want it enough. You're not in enough pain, right? If you were to scale it on a scale of 0 to 10, and 10 is like the most amount of emotional, physical, spiritual, mental pain you could feel, and 0 is no pain, no discomfort, mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual at all. And I'd say, people generally, in what I just discussed, if you're anything below a 7, you're not nearly close enough to wanting to finish. Not finish, but wanting to change. If you're not above a 7, you're 7. Everyone is 7 is different. Everyone's scale is different. If you take 10 as the worst, your worst feeling and physically, emotionally, spiritually, all that business, mentally, 0 being no negative effect. If you're not above a 7, in my experience, 25 years working with about 10,000 people, you're not ready to make the mental, emotional investment in making that shift and staying the course to see it completed, for you to be healed, for you to be transformed. Okay. People don't call a hypnotist, a therapist, a counselor, a doctor because they're doing good. We typically get the call when someone is like, oh, you know what? Yeah, it's been like a 4 or 5 through the last 5 years, but suddenly now something's happened in my life. I've lost my job, lost my wife, lost my husband, lost the car, lost the kids, lost the kidney, drinking too much, whatever it is, gambling too much. And now I don't even want, I can't even leave the house. I'm in so much fear, so much anxiety. I can't even leave the house and do my groceries because it's so much. Suddenly, it's been a 4 for years. They've just been coasting. They've not been living a very rich, wonderful life, but it's been kind of coasting in the background, not enough pain for them to shift and change. Then suddenly something else happens, like the extra block on top of the Jenga tower, that now has just knocked the whole thing bloody down because it's become overwhelming. And then someone will change, because there's no other choice but to change. And in reality, the only thing, why universal, not the only universal law, but one of the main universal laws is this: you cannot not change. It's impossible not to change. It really is. It's impossible not to change. Right? Even if you were just sitting, even if I just sat here on this couch until next Wednesday, same Luke time, same Luke place, same Luke channel, and I did not move. 1 week from now, I've changed. Now I might look the same, but literally hundreds of millions of cells in my body would have died, and hundreds of millions of cells in my body would have respawned. I would not be the same person. I might look the same. I might sound the same, but internally, I would not be the same. much like if you go down to a stream of water somewhere, pond, right? And if you put your foot in that pond and you kept your foot there for more than a few seconds and you pull your foot out and then you put your foot back in, you're not putting your foot back in the same pond. The water has changed. That water has moved on. You're putting your foot in new water, different water. It's not the same water that was just there because that's gone upstream or downstream, however water works, but it ain't the same water. Your brain, your body, your experience is not the same. You cannot not change. So then the question becomes, well, how about people that always, well, he's a smoker. He's a smoker last week. He's a smoker now, and he's a smoker next week. How about them? They're the same. They're not the same. They're not the same. They're keeping a belief that smoking is very hard to stop, and it can be about the right tools. And they may have the wrong belief that smoking is really, really tough to quit, which keeps them locked in place, right? So there's a lot going on. They're still changing. Their body is still changing. Their mind is still changing. But there's certain behaviors that have been wrapped around, padlocked, glued, stuck with things like beliefs. I'm not good enough. This is too hard. No one ever loves me. Oh, this is my only friend, this cigarette, whatever the problem is. And then there's emotions that are linked to that as well, like joy from that cigarette. Oh, it's my only friend, that connection from the cigarette, the high from the cigarette. And all these things get conjoined, connected, glued, stuck in place. So there's many billions of things that are going on in your mind and body that is shifting. But that thing not to shift, the only reason it isn't shifted is there's become a knot somewhere. A knot. It simply needs to be untied. But we can only start to untie that knot when you stop doing that. Imagine you got a shoelace, right? And you've tied a knot on it, right in the middle. And you hold one end of the shoelace and the other end of the shoelace, or a rope. And that knot's in the middle. And you just keep doing that. And you're like, why ain't the knot coming out? Why ain't the knot coming out? Why ain't the knot coming out? Because you're making it bloody tighter with your beliefs, your negative emotions, and your trauma, and your inability to let go. So what do? Instead of doing that and going outside, you come inside the string, inside the shoelace, and you get right to that knot. And then you start to work on that knot, right? How long does it take to get rid of that knot? Well, traditional counseling might tell you 4 years. Traditional psychotherapy might tell you there is no end, right? CBT, they might sell you, well, it's going to take at least a package of 12 to 16 sessions before we even get through to one shoelace to get in, right? It doesn't take that long at all. I don't know the last time you had a knot, even if it's bloody persistent, you start to work on it, you're going to open it probably within an hour. That's why hypnosis, that's why change work, kind of stuff that I do is rapid, because we get you to stop doing this and self-sabotage and working from the outside, and we start to get you working from the inside, focusing on that knot, not re-knotting it, not making it tighter, but start to unravel it. And no matter how powerful that knot is, no matter how many knots have been knotted on top of that knot, we just start to take it apart to eventually we get to that knot right in the middle, that knot, that foundation knot. Want of a better word or phrase, that foundation knot that represents your whole station in life. I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. I'll never be successful. Core belief. And everything else, the over drinking, the over smoking, the over sexting, the over social media, the over fooding, the over anxiety, the over depression and sadness, making the same mistakes over and over again. These are all just symptoms, layers. But when we get to that initial knot, I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm not lovable. I'll never be smart enough. I'll never be strong enough. This is my station in life. I'm not worth anything more than this. I want to get rid of that. I mean, really get rid of it. I don't just mean like some little technique you do and you feel good for a moment and then it's back. I mean, we unravel that sucker and it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Once and for all. This is why the kind of work that I do, any good hypnotist or change work, doesn't take 4 years. Doesn't take a package of 16 sessions. What about these people that would say, well, it's going to take 16 sessions in order to get you to get rid of cigarettes? How could they possibly know going into it, it's going to take 16 sessions. Why is it 16 and not 15 or 14 or 2? Why is it 16? Because they make up the number because they're trying to sell you a package. How I work is I speak to someone on the phone, I find out where they're at, they filled out a questionnaire, we spoke on the phone for an hour, then I tell them, given what you've said, where your motivation, you're at threshold, given your experience, what you've tried in the past, how you've answered these questions, and the time it's taken you to answer these questions, and the hesitation in the unconscious moment when you didn't realize, but you went like this for a moment when I asked you that question. Based on all of that information and my experience of doing this for 25 years and seeing 10,000 other people like you, is what I think it's going to take. Could we do it quicker? Probably. But here's probably the worst case. And usually the worst case is no more than 3 sessions. If someone's telling you that it's going to take you, and with the exception of if you hire a trainer and you've got a shed load of weight to lose, you're probably not going to lose all of that in one session because that needs to be coached over a period of time. But that decision to release weight, that decision to eat less, that decision to exercise more, that happens like that. It doesn't happen in 16 sessions. It happens like that. Again, back to the analogy of you're at a job one day and you've reached threshold, you hate your boss, you hate your job, I quit. Take you to think about it over and over again. It's just one day you are done. And you're done because you reached threshold, right? Different people's thresholds, different people's thresholds. But when you get to your 7 or above, in my experience, that's when you're ready to make those shifts. So the best thing you could do if you've got some kind of problem is either accept it and live with your problem and never complain about it, because the complaining about it, not just externally, but internally, is going to make you suffer and keep you stuck. So just live with it, accept it, be okay with it, and it's not going to change. Or get yourself to the point where it is a 7 or above, emotional, physiological, mental, spiritual, pain, immediate, that's in your face, that's there all the time. You're like, I'd rather die than spend another day with this thought, this feeling, this behavior, this stuck station in life. Or get yourself to there, because you'll start finding a way to make shifts with or without my help. So either accept where you are and be okay with your addiction and everything, irrespective of like, oh, it's going to cost you this or cost you that. If you're not going to change it, then don't beat yourself up about it. Just accept it. Accept you're drinking, you're over drinking, you're over coking, you are over anxieting, you're over jerking off, whatever it is, accept it and be okay with it, because it's the suffering. Oh no, I should really stop this, but I kind of like, oh, I should really stop this. Oh, but I should stop it. That is what keeps you stuck. Be okay with it and continue to live your life, or get yourself to that point where you can't spend bare another minute in that place where it's literally like a hot poker that's up your bum. You know, I got to change this. I got to change it now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. And I have to be the one that changes it. No one's magically going to wave the magic wand and fix me. Can they coach me? Can they help me? Can they help me find those places inside, that strength inside, to do the inside job myself with expert coaching? Absolutely. But make no mistake about it, you are doing the work. So I'll give you a few moments. Any questions, comments, feedback about anything I've said there, please put it in the comments below. And again, like I say, if you're watching this after the fact, I will endeavor to respond to your comments over the next few days or so. But like I said, keep an eye out for that interview with Daryl on overcoming cancer. That's going to be up within the next week. And I'll give you some details of my upcoming show if you are around Toronto. And we'll likely film it as well. But if you're in Toronto, it's a good night out, because there's going to be other performers, not hypnotists there, but magicians, burlesque, probably, and other interesting performers. It's a good night out in downtown Toronto on Thursday. But as we get closer and closer, I'll give you ample time about where that is going to be and how to enjoy it and all that good stuff. So Without further ado, thank you for joining me here tonight. I look forward to seeing you next week. Same Luke time, same Luke place, same Luke channel. Always believe.